All right.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm your host to my podcast, Put Your Phone Down podcast. People, listen, I know it's been a minute, okay? But I had to walk into a whole new season with this podcast. So I am officially on season 3. And this season is going to be real different. I'm reaching out to my homegirls, my homeboys. We taking it there, y'all. So I'm adding some spice into it. Without further ado, speaking of spicy, I got my girl Leek on this podcast. We've been trying to link in and do this for a minute. I have known this woman for over 10 years. I always use 10. I know it's longer than that, but I mean, just such a genuine spirit, supportive in any and everything you do. I can call her up and we'll talk about everything from halfway sports, because I don't know it like that. We'll talk about how cute the guys are and stuff. But this is a woman that inspires me. And she's often prejudged, misjudged, but she is one of the smartest women I know. She's fly to the bone. She's a mother. She's a daughter. She's a granny. She's a niece. She's many things. But tonight, on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce my homegirl, Leek, in the building.
Hey.
What's up, girl?
Oh, nothing and everything. I'm happy to join you on this.
Yeah, see, we on here, and yesterday, people, we had an awesome conversation, and it led to, we was on the phone for at least, I want to say about 5 hours, and we were catching up on so many things, and the one thing I kind of wanted to lean into, and I know me and you talked about this earlier, and I think I'm led to link or to just dive straight in about what I said earlier in the intro, the prejudging and the misjudging, and I think that's a conversation that is necessary because women primarily tend to have that first. You size a woman up and down and you think you know her just by the moment she walks in. Depending on what she has on, it's already this, who does she think she is? And I think that that's a topic I would love for us to tap into, because I don't know what's going on in a lot of the sisterhood. And I'm not talking about all women, you know that, but what's going on where, we're not fixing each other's crowns as much anymore, and I want to tap on that. So what's your point of view on that?
I don't know. I think a lot of times, like you said, it's just prejudgment. A lot of prejudgment. Like, oftentimes people walk into a room and they're looking at people, looking them up and down, seeing how they're dressed or who they're with, or, just if they're cute, what the body is like, if the body is bodying. Just a bunch of stuff unnecessarily and making prejudgments. But I think a lot of times it's really competition. And why? Who knows? I don't know. But definitely competition.
So that's the word of the day. I think that we should use that. If I was a drinker, I think this would be a damn drinking game where I know I get lit. And I'm a whole lightweight, but competition, do you think that starts early in when we little girls? Where do you think that picks up from?
I do think it starts early. I think it starts in grammar school. If you remember, back when we were younger, which I don't know if they do it now, because listen, do they make lists of anything nowadays? But You remember they used to make the little list and put all the girls' names on it and all the boys' names on it, and then rate them from 1 to 10.
Yes.
That is where I can remember my first time feeling judged, feeling like I was in a competition and having it make me feel something, feeling affected by it. Even though I didn't place low, but I'm sure I didn't place low because I was the homegirl. You know what I mean?
Right. When you said that, I took a beat because I'm working on my triggers. But I definitely remember that because, I didn't score high. Okay, like I knew it when I would see the guys off to the side and they would be giggling. I knew that they was rough on the sister. Okay, they was rough on the sister. But I agree with you. I'm going to take it a tidget further. I'm wondering also, does competition start in the home? If you are if it's somebody at school and you might have somebody at the crib that's like, no, she can't dress better than you. Take that off, put this on. Before you probably, as a young girl growing up, maybe you didn't care about those clothing. But it might be somebody, an influencer at the crib. It ain't got to be mama. It ain't got to be daddy. It could be cousins. It could be whoever is around you that might look you up and down. And that's when the judgment may start as well. And the competition. The last time I was around cousin TT, her hair was done. Now I want to go get my hair done in the bob or whatever. So like you said, it does start in grammar school. But in some cases, do you believe that starts at home too?
You know what? That's a good point. That is a good point and a valid point. I think that's absolutely true. To think about it, we probably all have heard, have experienced it and done it unknowingly. Where it's like, oh, why can't you be quiet like your brother? Or, oh my goodness, look how tall you're getting, oh, sissy's still short. Or, your brother, oh, well, hopefully you'll be tall too. Or, you know what I mean? Just regular conversation. And definitely also, when you have those cousins that, is fly, that they're fly as shit all the time. And then you have the cousins that, not that they're dirtier or anything like that, but maybe they just don't get the same kind of, I don't know what it would, the same amount of pampering or whatever it would be called. And then they're like, oh, I wish I had those. I wish I had that hairstyle. I wish I had those, or even toys.
Yeah.
It could be toys. So I never really thought about it that way, but I absolutely agree with you. It definitely probably starts in the home unknowingly.
And it gets deep because, just from my standpoint, I don't know, if men really feel the competition in the room. And if so, I don't know if it's the level that a woman may feel. There are times when you could be sweet as pie. And, you walk in a room and you get cool with everybody, but it's always somebody who say, I didn't think I was going to like you. Without knowing you, you don't know what they've heard before you. But it's kind of like, I wonder why that exists. And as we grow into women, sometimes it feels like it's an added pressure there. It's an added well, what's she gonna wear? Or is she gonna be there? I know I gotta step it up. But it's like, but look, if you find what you had on, Why do you have to feel like you have to change up or switch up? So now we're adults, right? So we talked about possibly it started from home. Then, you mentioned grammar school. Let's skip high schools. Let's
Mm.
skip, let's talk about the adult competition. And where is that coming from? And how do we band together as sisters and say, I see you, sis. You looking cute without it being any type of, well, she could have wore this. And I ain't tell her she had lipstick on her teeth. I was just going to let her do it. Like, where is that coming from? And how can we start fixing that?
To be honest, I feel like it's definitely a good question. And one that you and I have talked about a lot at length. Having grown up as an only child, not knowing my siblings until later, and then my youngest sibling not getting him until I was almost an adult. But I didn't really have. I don't have a competitive spirit. I'm not competitive at all, and I'm a girl's girl. I really am. And being in beauty, I can always find something beautiful about a person. And that's always more my focus. I'm not a person that thinks like, oh, that person is ugly. That's just not my thing. I'm always focused on, I always tend to spot, what somebody's strong suit, like, oh my goodness, they have beautiful bone structure, or I love their eyebrows. It could be anything. So I don't really have that competitive spirit, and you'll never really hear me talking about another woman. Now, in my younger years, even a few years ago, for sure. But in this space, nah. But I've always definitely been a girl's girl, and I've never been aggressively into that. But I feel like a lot of times women are surprised. The world puts out, this general classism type of thing. If you have a degree as a woman, if you have a degree, you are this certain caliber of woman. If you own your own business or drive this or have a home or your credit score, all of these things that qualify you as a great catch. When in reality, your personality could still be hood as hell, which is not bad, nor good. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't, those things really, in the grand scheme of things, don't matter. But people think like, oh, okay, if you have kids and you don't have a degree, how the hell you over here able to take trips? Or how do you manage to have this handbag? Or how you always looking good? I have more money. I this, I that. Meanwhile, you're just trying to have a good time and hang out and fellowship with other women,
Right.
I think it all boils down to how you feel about yourself.
Bingo.
If you don't really feel good about yourself, you will find something to nitpick about, because in every other woman that you encounter, and the only way you can feel comfortable around other women is if you can point out what's messed up about them, in order to make yourself feel better. A lot of people experience, a lot of women, are that way. And maybe they realize it, or maybe they don't. I'm not sure. But it's sad. It's sad, and it's not cool, because to be quite honest, we can all really relate to one another on quite a few things.
You said a lot. And I was like, I want to make this my onion. You know what I'm saying? Where I can just take it layer by layer, because I'm hearing everything and listening, and everything stuck out. But it's one area that you said that I really want to dig into is the insecurity of, you know, when you, like you said, you have women that can prejudge only because it's what they're dealing with inside. If it's something that they don't like about themselves, if they haven't healed whatever area in them, then yeah, it's absolutely nothing you can do except for lower yourself to make them feel some type of way. And it's not our job to make another person feel any kind of way. You know, it's outside of making them feel good. We're not responsible for another woman feeling so bad that she'd rather look you up and down, talk about you the whole time that you in the room, laugh at you, gossip about you. Meanwhile, you're having a good time. And that's sad because, like you said, at this age, as the young folks say, we the big ages, okay? And our big age as, I think that it should be quite lovely to be around women who know who they are. And it doesn't matter if they got a labeled bag or they carrying around a plastic bag. Who are you to the core? And do you love that person who you've become? Because until you love who you are, you just in pieces. And you want somebody to be miserable just like you. And that's the hurtful part, because I don't think I'm seeing a lot of bonding as much as I do women pinning against one another, you know. And I'm not for certain if we can go back, like you said, and blame it on grammar school, home, or now the social influences. Right now, we have so much, we can look into anything and size somebody up in the picture. Oh, I don't like her. You know, I never have met this person. So now we've taken a journey. We got a story here. Grammar school, upbringing at the crib, like you said, maybe going against family and not even knowing that sometimes you are being groomed to compete. And that's kind of where I want to go next. You know, we're adults, but are we still being groomed as adults to compete against the next woman? Like, what's that about?
I think, you know, quite honestly, yes. And you touched on something. You said something. Social influences, social media. Social media is an MFer. It really is. You know, I know personally, I have to like put myself in time out from social media because, you know, I do feel like at times it gives me this false sense of worth, quite honestly, not self-worth, not just self-worth, but worth across the board. Like, the extravagance on social media, the socialization, you know, that looks like, you know, it looks like it's taking place. The kids, the car user, like everything, fashion, all of it. And I have to take breaks because I'm really more like a hippie, personality wise. Like, I do not spend a ton of time picking out what I'm going to wear. I don't like to iron. So 9 times out of 10, if it's not a special occasion or I'm not going to work or, you know, having a client or something, depending on whichever kind of work I'm doing that day, I am going to pick out whatever doesn't need ironing. And, you know, it's just so happens that, you know, by nature, I have a decent sense of style, but it's definitely not something that's nurtured. It's not. I cannot stand to iron. I cannot, like, absolutely. And that is that is how I generally decide what I'm gonna wear. What doesn't need ironing? Sad to
Yeah.
say. But other people look at, they may look at, some people may be like, girl, you look so cute. And I'm like, oh, thank you,
Right.
And, me the same way, always. Let me just say, I'm all about, hey, you are beautiful. You are absolutely beautiful. I don't believe that size or height or thickness or any of that has anything to do with beauty. I don't.
Well, let me put a pin, and I'm sorry to have cut you off, in the competition field, because I want to stay in the same neighborhood that you talking about, because I want to know, does this merge together? Now stay right there on what you were saying with social media. And I want to talk about, as do we feel the pressures of social media as adults? And when do we have to pull back? So for me, I just began pulling back because I needed to focus on a few things. Social media for me became, like you said, maybe a small dose of validation, definitely a distraction from reality. If I didn't want to do something, if my mind was heavy, I get on social media and get lost, okay? And it wouldn't be in everybody's page. I'd be just scrolling around looking at whatever, and before you know it, the clock at the top of my phone is like stopping in this thing in the matrix for about 5 hours. So let's talk about social media for a moment, and talk about the pressures or the whatever field social media serves for us. Do you feel any pressure when you're on social media? What should you post? Do you, pick out what you go wear? Has it become that part where, social media fits into your life?
You know what? Truthfully, right now, no. But there was a period of time, because somehow I ended up going viral a few times. I don't, just being me, you know what I mean? Doing like remixes and things, just being me, for real. And I'm one of those people that's like an extroverted introvert. Like, I definitely have my, I'm definitely silly and all of that, but everybody might not know that about me. But when I'm by myself, or when I'm with my kids or my closest friends, you will see the full spectrum of me. So somehow that caught on social media, and I got all of these followers, right? And then I became an influencer, even though I wasn't intending to influence anything nor anybody. Okay. And that came with the responsibility, where, I became, an Amazon influencer. And, I definitely have had a few, smaller deals, where that obligates you. It obligates you to do certain things with time. Then it came this thing where you can have subscribers. But here it is. Listen, what am I going to put on here? I had subscribers, not like a gang of them, just a few, who know me personally, and probably, they might be a little sweet on me, but also they just probably just genuinely like me as a person and were being supportive. Now, that brought pressure. What am I going to put on here? Because it's a thing, guys will say all the time, oh my God, you are so sexy. I think I am, but I don't know how. It's not intentional. You know what I mean? It's 100% not intentional, but I definitely like me. I'm good with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know how to work me. I enjoy me. And I know, when I give me in varying degrees. But social media and the following felt like pressure. And there came a point where I even considered doing is it OnlyFans? I think I always get it backwards, but I think it's OnlyFans. I even considered that, but then I thought like, no, because guess what? I'm not that friendly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not about to give to you what I want to give to my man.
Right.
The same kind of nasty I might be with my man, I'm not going to be online for you for this money, especially when my man is taking care of home.
Right.
But I still felt that pressure, like these people are paying money. I got to give them something. But if I was just on there being me and you just found me attractive just being me, sometimes, with social media, just being you is not enough.
This is true.
I just felt like I can't do it. Like, I can't do that. I'm just not built that way. And I don't think it's anything wrong with it at all. But, the nerd part of me is like, girl, bye.
Yeah.
Me, and I'm going to give you me. And if you like that, keep following me.
I think that I think that you hit it on the head when, you put yourself out there. I remember joining Facebook and I was like, this is it for me. Cause I was a whole Black Planet MySpace chick and I ain't believe in being on a whole bunch of platforms. And then Facebook became a thing. And so when I got on Facebook, you couldn't rip me away from it. I was finding old friends and everything like that. It did become a point of validation for me early on, where everything I did, every place I went, was okay. Can I post it? Let me post it, somewhere in between though, I had to realize like, dang, this really doesn't have any type of, what am I doing? Basically, I had that what am I doing moment. Why am I posting this? Okay, it's a hamburger and I'm at a restaurant. A big damn deal. You know what I'm saying? People could get hamburgers from the damn comfort of their own home. Then I became more of a private person. What you saw is what you saw. Didn't matter if who liked it. Okay. It was just me deciding to do it. But I went through different variations and different phases of loving and at times pulling away. I wouldn't say hate social media, but we almost at the point where we are wrapping up. And I believe this deserves a part 2 because, we covered so many bases. The one thing I want to leave people with, and my women is it's okay to fix each other's crown. I don't want to compete with anyone. I have a lane. You got a lane. And that's the only competition I want to be in is my own lane. So when I see the finish line, I know it was made for me. I don't really want to race with anyone. And I'm glad that we got that covered. We took some time to uncover that. We ended it with talking about basically the pressures as adults with social media and it affects us too. I'm sure it affects the teens, So we got about a minute left and I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
In and out, Lee. Musically, who is your favorite GOAT? Who is the GOAT, man? And then tell me why.
The absolute GOAT to me, as you probably already know, is Prince.
Go.
That note, girl. That note that can, forgive me, it can get you wet.
What is your favorite Prince song? You got a few? You got What's your favorite
I have
Prince
a
song?
few, but my absolute favorite is Adore.
Oh,
It
mine
is.
too. We
It
gotta
is.
wrap up. It's we over the time, but Adore is my favorite as well. I mean, I read the lyrics and I'm like, oh my God. So Leek, this has been so wonderful. I thank you for hopping on the podcast. This has been a wonderful experience. Like I said, this deserves a part two. And in the meantime, people, I want you to fix each other crowns. And welcome to season 3 of Put Your Phone Down podcast. I am back, y'all.